everyone, and welcome to another Sims 4 speed build. Today I'm creating a new library for StrangerVille because it could definitely use it. Like the bar, I was very underwhelmed when I first saw the library that came to this world because it's super bare bones. You just got a few bookshelves, some desks, and a bathroom, and it's just super small, super crammed. It's not really a very interesting place to go, so I wanted to create somewhere that was at least a little more interesting gameplay-wise, although it's still a library, so it's really not the most exciting place to go to. But I did add in a kids play area, so if you bring kids along, there's stuff for them to do, so it's at least a little more functional. It's a little larger than the original one because it's 2 floors, not 1 floor, and it definitely has a more grand feel to it because I was trying to give it a town hall feel originally. Like when I was looking at inspiration for this build, I looked up Victorian and Carpenter Gothic town halls just to get an idea of something I could do that would fit into this world that would still have a town hall feel to it. Although in the end, I'm not sure if it really looks that much like it could be a town hall. I think it just looks more like a fancy library, but at the same time, I feel like it just looks kind of like a mix between a town hall and a fancy library, which probably is best because it is a library, but at the same time, I want it to look like somewhere where they maybe keep a bunch of documentation on StrangerVille. So I do create this area. I'm kind of laying it out right now. That's sort of like an information desk area. I wish I could have made it a bit bigger, but unfortunately this is a very small lot, so I didn't have a whole lot of space to work with to make this into a grand building. But I just thought it'd be nice to have the information desk, so it's kind of like where you would go up to ask for information if you walk into the library, and maybe you want some kind, some documents relating to the city, like maybe permits or that kind of a thing. They keep those kinds of documents behind there, so it just could be somewhere you go also to maybe get information or file permits if you're looking to do some construction or something like that. I don't know. So I think it could double as the library and the town hall for StrangerVille because it is a very small town, so I think that is something that could kind of make sense. But I am really happy with how this build came out. I was kind of worried going into it because I don't believe I've ever built a library in The Sims, in The Sims, not The Sams. Not just with The Sims 4, but I don't think I built one in any of the previous iterations of The Sims either. Like maybe I made one back in The Sims 3 days, but honestly, I don't remember ever making one. So I just wasn't sure how this was going to come out, building a completely new lot type, but I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I feel like it definitely has a grand library-esque feel to it. This build also came out looking a lot nicer than the bar I made it, because I made that super grody and disgusting. But this is actually very nice because, I don't know, I thought maybe I could make it look a little rundown, but I feel like this is kind of the nicer area of town, and you also have that really pretty lawn area in front of it, so I felt like it just made a lot more sense to make it look very nice, because even though the bar is literally a block over, you could definitely tell that that section is a little bit more rundown looking, even though it's like 50 feet away. I just really liked being able to make something that was prettier after how run down and dingy looking the last 2 builds I did were. And I also was really happy to use these beautiful Carpenter Gothic windows and doors again, because in the first build I did using StrangerVille, which was the vibrant Victorian house, I said that I wasn't really sure what specific architectural style these items were in. And several of you let me know in the comments of that video that it is Carpenter Gothic. So thank you for letting me know that, because I was able to look up that style to get inspiration for this build just to make sure that it better fit in. So that just really helped with figuring out inspiration for this. And I also want to do another Carpenter Gothic house for this world, but I'm probably going to take a little bit of a break from StrangerVille builds before doing that, because this build and the past 3 have all been using StrangerVille, so I think I need to throw in a few other things before doing another one. So my next build will probably be an apartment, because I really want to do a more industrial style apartment. I just got a bit of a stroke of inspiration to do something like that. And then I'm also gonna have a collab coming up soon, so hopefully that'll be the next build after that one. So I'm really excited for both of those, and then after that, I'll probably do another Carpenter Gothic styled home for this world. And I also had a really cool household idea to go with that house, so I'm looking forward to making both of those. And after that, it's probably going to be a while before I revisit building a StrangerVille, because I don't want to make you all sick of seeing StrangerVille builds, so I just think we need to take a bit of a break from that. But as you may have seen when I was doing the outside here, I did give it a very cheery color scheme. So we just got the light blue siding and then the bright yellow shutters, which it's just a color combination that looks really nice together, and I came up with that because I used that roof decoration that came with this pack as inspiration. Because I talked about this in that Vibrant Victorian house build I did, but that item is just really useful for getting color scheme inspiration because it has swatches of siding that match the base game one, and then it also, of course, has a window that comes in the colors of the ones that came with StrangerVille, so you can just use that as an inspiration for your color palette, and I just really like that because it's given me ideas. Like, it's given me an idea for a color scheme that I never would have thought of otherwise, because I don't think I ever would have thought to put bright blue siding with bright yellow shutters. And also with that Victorian house, I put bright orange siding and mint green windows together, and that I absolutely never would have thought to do, but it actually looked really good together. So I definitely want to do some more builds using swatches inspired by that, just because I really like the more unique color schemes that it gives you. And I also added pops of yellow into other items on the outside of the build, so I did use that metal roof decoration in the yellow color, although I did change it back to the black on the tops of the roof because I realized it was a little too busy up there and I felt like it'd be better if it blended in with the roof up there, but I did keep the yellow on the flat roofs. And then I also used a swatch of that trim that had a little bit of yellow in it just to tie in with that a little bit more, and I don't know, I'm just so happy with how this build came out, and I really like that's kind of the opposite of the bar that I made because that was pretty much all brown. There was very little color in it, and I don't know, this is just a complete opposite because it's bright and cheery. Even the inside has a very bright feel to it, and I did continue the yellow and blue color scheme on the inside, although I kind of swapped it a little bit, so the walls on the inside are yellow, and then the blue is more of the accent. So I don't know, I just really like how that came together. As far as the landscaping goes, I kept it very simple, so I just took inspiration from what they did originally, and I used this pavement with the red brick border on it, and then I used that gravel with the red brick on it in the corners and in some other spots between the corners, and then stuck plants in the center of it, which is pretty much what they did on the original library. But that was something I actually liked, and I thought it fit into the world very well because it does go with the path that is there leading up to the library, so I just really wanted this to feel like it tied into the rest of the world. I also thought about putting some landscaping in the front, like kind of where I put the red brick in the front, but I tried that and then cut it out of the video, and it just looked really weird for some reason, putting a bunch of flowers and trees in there. Like, it just, for whatever reason, didn't feel like it went with the rest of the world, so I just kept it a lot simpler, and I just stuck some flags up front and a fancy planter, like the ones that you see here in the back, and then some benches. And I like that. I just felt like that simple decorating the outside went with this build so well, and the flags also kind of added to the town hall-esque feel that this place has. I also really like how this clocks look, so we got those on both the front and the back of the build. I wasn't sure about putting on the back, but I wasn't sure what else to put there. There is that wall decoration from, I believe it was Get to Work, that was for the police station that I've seen other people use for their town hall type StrangerVille library builds, but I didn't think that would really go with the color scheme I used on the outside very well, so I just stuck with the clocks and stuck them on both sides. I don't know, I think it's fine. That way you could tell what time it is no matter what side of the building you're on. And I did make the one in the back of the building a little smaller, so I think I did. Maybe I didn't. I don't know, but I think I made the one on the back a little smaller, so it's kind of like the front one is the main clock. But we're on to the inside now, and as you may have seen in the beginning, I did some of the laying out before, like as I was trying to figure out the size of the build, I laid out the bookshelf some because I had this idea for the layout where I wanted to have the bookshelves between the windows. I thought that was something that would feel very library-esque. Like, I did have some trouble trying to figure out like how to lay things out because I wanted it to feel like a regular library, but it's also so small that it's kind of hard to make it feel realistic because I think most libraries are bigger than this one are. I mean, I guess maybe in a small town you might have a really small library like this, but I mean, I live in a pretty small town myself, and it has a library. It actually has a library that's pretty large, so I don't think that's the case a lot of the times. Like, I feel like a lot of the libraries in my area, at least, are libraries that are built in maybe like the 70s or 80s, so they're not like quite this old and traditional looking, so I couldn't really take inspiration from that, but I just thought the idea of positioning the windows and sizing the build so I could kind of have it like symmetrically laid out with the bookshelves between the windows would just look best. Like, I feel like it looks very purposeful, like the placement of the bookshelves was thought of a lot in the building of this. And then we just got some bookshelves lining that other wall across from that. And I think that was something that aided in this feeling more realistically like a library. So basically the lower level, you walk in, you've got the information desk, which I'm making here, and then you go to either side, and then you've got the bookshelves, and you kind of just go around. You can go out through the back. So, you can either walk in here through the back or the front of the building, and if you want, you can maybe just like walk out the back and hang out on the deck there, although there's not a whole lot of space. And then you go upstairs, and that's where the bathrooms are. They're in kind of a weird spot. There's big old windows right off in them, which isn't the best, but I didn't really want to mess with the outside of the building to put smaller windows in, so I just, dealt with it and just left it. I mean, Sims don't really care anyway, so as much as I don't like to do that, I just left it in. So yeah, bathrooms are upstairs. There's a few bookshelves up there, but the upstairs is mainly the computer area, and that's also where the kids area is, and then there's just some other spots there where you can sit and read. So yeah, I think despite the small size, it did come together pretty well. And also the new bookshelves that they added in with this pack are just perfect library bookshelves, because I felt like it would have been so much harder before getting these bookshelves to create a library. So I'm kind of glad I waited till this point to create my first library, because I just feel like these are a lot better than the options that we had before, because they go pretty much to the ceiling of a medium wall height level building. So they just kind of really go with that tall, grand bookshelf look that you'd have in a library. So I am really glad that they added these in. And I also found those book carts that came with, I believe, Get to Work, that are just perfect for libraries, because, they look like something where people return books. Like those shelves they have that they roll around when they're putting books back on the shelf. So that's just really a perfect decoration. And I believe here I'm just about finished with the information desk. So as you can see, there's just clutter, there's books, so maybe those are like books they're trying to advertise, or like new books that got in that they're trying to show, or something like, or maybe like books that you can even just buy. And then behind that, I stuck some filing cabinets, I stuck documents all over the place, just to kind of go with the idea that this is where some of the documents for StrangerVille are stored. So, you can go there and ask for information. Of course, there's more that can be found in the bookshelves and on the computers and such. And here I'm just adding a little table in the entrance area. I mean, I don't know, maybe not the best. I don't care. I just thought it was really pretty. I don't care if it's maybe not like the most realistic thing, but I just like the idea of you walking in and seeing this very cheery yellow plant that kind of goes with the cheery yellow color scheme that I had elsewhere. So yeah, basically lower level is bookshelves, and then I stuck these reading areas in each corner. I thought that'd be really nice just to have these reading areas kind of tucked into the corners where you can just go and read quietly amongst the shelves. So I used this chair that came with cats and dogs. I ended up changing to the blue swatch, which I thought goes really well with the yellow wallpaper. And as I said before, it also ties in with the blue that's on the outside of the build, and just looked a whole lot better than keeping it in this white or keeping it in this pink color. So it definitely just stood out a lot more. And I also stuck these runner rugs in here originally, although at the very end of the video I got rid of them because I just realized that it was a little bit too busy. Like, something just looked off to me having all of these rugs in here. So once I got rid of the rugs, it actually looked a lot better. Because I don't know, again, like, this is a community lot. I didn't want to make it too complicated, over furnished. Like, I feel like community lots should be kept a little bit more, like, I like to keep them a little bit simpler than I do my house builds, because they're builds that people, I feel, will tend to use more. So I feel like it's better to leave them more functional. Because once you add a ton of items into a build, it can get more difficult to load. I mean, having some rugs isn't really going to affect how hard this build is to play in, but I mean, I don't know, just in general, I try to keep my community lots a little bit less cluttered than I do my home lots. And I just felt like having all of these rugs didn't quite fit in with the library look in a way. I couldn't quite put my finger on why that was, but it just looked very off to me, and things just looked better once I got rid of them. But something I do want to talk about really quickly before we get to the end of the video is that I finally played through the StrangerVille story. Because I was talking in my last speed build about how I hadn't had time yet, and I was kind of having trouble getting time to go through it, but I finally got a couple of hours where I could just play through it, and I have kind of mixed feelings about it, to be honest. Like, I had fun with parts of it, but I just felt like some of it was kind of repetitive, and I don't want to give away spoilers here just in case any of you still haven't got a chance to play through it and don't want to get any spoilers, but I don't know, it was fun at parts, but it was a lot of like, go here and get so many of this kind of a thing, then run over here and get this thing, go to the bar, go to the library, go back to the lab. It was just kind of like, go here, get this, go over here and get this. Befriend people so, you know, you find out stuff. Hopefully that's not too spoiler. I don't think it is, but you know, it was just kind of like repetitive. It was still fun though. I think the problem was that I played it all in one sitting and I was kind of trying to rush through because I had things I had to get done, so I was like, okay, I can't be sitting here for hours doing this. I gotta like finish this so I can do other things I need to do. So that probably wasn't the best way to do it. Like, I think I would have had more fun if I gave myself more time and mixed in other things. So I don't know, maybe I didn't go through it the best way, but still, I don't know, like I said, like parts of it were fun, but other parts I was like, okay, I just want to get through this so I can get to the fun stuff. And I won't say what the ending is, but I did find the end part of it I found that really cool. Like, that was my favorite part about it. I thought that was really cool. Something I felt was missing was that I thought it would be better to have more lore with it. Like, maybe some more explanation of why what was happening. And I'm kind of curious as to what you all think about this as well. Like, those of you who have played through this, like, what did you think of the story once you got through it? Like, did you enjoy it? Did you kind of feel the same way I did where it was repetitive at parts? I'm really curious about that. And I did hear that when you do actually play with a sim that's in the military career, you do get some new gameplay related to the story. I, of course, haven't actually done that, so I'm not sure about that, but there might have been some things that I actually missed. Like, I think the ending is the same. I mean, obviously, like, the ending is the same. Not, I think the ending is the same. It is the same. But I have heard that there's different ways, like, slightly different ways you can get to it. So there might have been some things I missed due to how much I rushed through it. So if I ever do play it again, then, you know, maybe it'll go a little bit better because I won't be trying to rush through it, because in this case, I just wanted to rush through it so I didn't potentially get any more spoilers, because I accidentally saw some spoilers before I even played through it. So, yeah, I just wasn't really focusing on, like, I was just really focusing on getting through it as quick as possible. But at this point, the second level is about finished. I'm just finishing up making the kids' play area, and I also added some of those posters over here. I, at some points, put them up in other parts of the library, but I felt like those posters didn't quite fit in with the style of it, but I thought around the kids' area, they made a little bit more sense to fit in over there, and I changed the rug out here for this one for My First Pet stuff, which I maybe shouldn't have used because that's the only item from that pack that I used. But I mean, if you don't have My First Pet stuff, then that'll just that rug will be missing, and you replace it with the base game one. And one of the last things I did here was that I just added some books onto these desks just to make it look a little bit more detailed. So it's just like books that people picked up and then left behind. And I also liked how these desks looked in here. I felt like they just kind of gave more of that private feel that you sometimes have in libraries. But that is about it for the building part of the video. So as usual, there will be a link to download this in the description. There will be other stuff in there on how to find it in-game. And that's going to be all for me, so enjoy the rest of the video.